This is the Healey Brothers Show.
All right, so
I like that.
welcome to the show, guys. We got Zwade, Krissy, and of course Nicky. If you just want to start, Krissy, give a little background on what you do, where we're at, and we'll start with that.
I am a product specialist here at Healey Brothers Kia. I've been in the business for over 20 years. I've been here at Healey Brothers for 6. So today we're talking about the EV9.
And Krissy's a specialist in the EV9. She was nervous about it, but she's a specialist, so if Krissy would like.
You don't have to look at the camera.
Yeah, we can dash it.
Yeah. Where am I looking?
We can talk about that. It's actually better, and but Zwade, you want to give us a touch on the job role where you're out here?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Zwade. I've been here for about 7 years, product specialist, and I'm excited today to be part of this panel and talk
We're
about
giving the podcast a go for when we tried it way back in the day. Yeah. We've came a long way. We got newer tech.
You remember the first one we tried filming and the lady was vacuuming in the back? Yeah. I messed up the mics and it was like bouncing back and forth instead of being on the same.
Nicky, I gotta say I'm super proud of all the growth that you guys have with this. This is pretty cool. So I'm excited to be part of it.
You gotta check out the place we have in Hyundai now. Yeah. We wanted to go there, but it's easier for you guys to steal you. It'd be a couple hours of your day, it'd steal you over there, so it's just easier to come here. That's why we have these mics. But, I mean, from the first podcast, we really didn't know what we were doing. I definitely didn't know what I was doing. I just called Nicky. I was like, Nicky, just try to figure out how to do a podcast. And I said, start with the people at Kia. Probably Zwade. He'll sit down and do something with you. So,
hey, it's come a long way. It's come a long way.
So, I guess we'll get started on the EV9. So, EV9's car that's won more awards than most, and the Korean brands and Kia and Hyundai have won a ton. So I'm gonna let Nicky kind of lead the way here. He'll keep us in check.
So obviously the main purpose of this is, think of it as helping consumers make a decision on a purpose or on a purchase. Like, is the EV9 for me? Like he said, awards, like won World Car of the Year, like World Design of the Year, World Electric Vehicle of the Year, which is similar to what Hyundai won the 2 years previous, right?
Yeah.
So those are just cool to mention that they won those awards, but like this is really in terms of what do you guys want to talk about to help someone make a purchase, like the different trim levels, the starting prices. You can mention some of the features now or some of the stuff you know, but don't forget we're going to segue into driving one. So.
Well, I think it's exciting because a lot of people that came in on the EV6 or the EV Nero, they love the idea of going EV, but a lot of people having families, they wanted the space, the cargo space, all while stepping into an innovative EV type vehicle with all the technology.
How many passengers is it?
7, 8.
No, you're right. Yeah, just a passenger.
Well, it can be 8.
It can be.
Some of the trims have the bench and not the captain seats.
A lot of our customers in our market, they tend to go for the 7-seater. So for us, but we're catered to everybody. So we hope that you're just coming in, even if you want to. See what the EV world is like, get some information. For us, it's super fun to talk about those cars. It's super fun to drive them. I think that's one of my favorite parts, is getting to drive them.
We tend to upstate New York have pretty big families up here, so you need something bigger than the EV6. Doesn't usually cut it. So that's super important they came out with that. I mean, they're the first one that really came out with a big SUV besides Rivian, right?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
So they compete with Rivian. And
it's bigger than the Model X. The Model X isn't nearly as big.
Yeah,
But
I would say the comparison's probably the Rivian, right? What is it?
Rivian would be the right comparison. The Model X, that third row, it's tight, man. You might as well don't have kneecaps.
I didn't even realize it had the third row.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even believe it. The Model Y can get a third row. I don't know what you could fit back there because the Model X's third row is
What do you got, the dog back there?
Dude, I don't even know. I don't even know.
Car seats. Only car seats, no legs though. All right. So.
No legs. But so you talked about the size for why people might want an EV9. Like, what other reasonings could help someone make a purchase in terms of if they're coming in to look for an EV? Like, there's got to be some other selling points of an EV9 outside of the size of the vehicle.
So Kia, its brand itself, has taken off within the last 10 years and through innovation, drivability, through design. When you come into this store, especially here at Healey Brothers Kia, your product specialist takes the time to pay attention to your needs and your wants to make sure that how the right vehicle meets all the goals for you. So you're not just getting into something and then all of a sudden 2 weeks later you realize it doesn't have this or it doesn't have that. No, we really are very detailed to make sure that hey, I want an EV. Why do you need an EV? how much are you driving, where are you going, what type of driving, do you make sure that how you have a charging station at home, or can you put a charging station at home? You know, we're not just here to just sell you a vehicle because we have it. We really want you to be part of the Healey family and keep coming back, because we're paying attention to those little details as where is your charging station going to go? How can we set you up the right way to make sure that how the next time or at the barbecue you're at, you're going to talk great about the Healey Brothers and the Healey Kia, to make sure that people know, hey, I love my EV. This is why I love my EV.
Yeah, I mean, we're like informing you. We're big on informing, like, hey, yeah, we might not have the best charging structure in upstate New York, but we have other ways that you don't have to really worry about it, because you could charge it at home, you could charge at the store, you could charge at most grocery stores now. So there is some infrastructure where you can kind of take that, give yourself that peace of mind instead of really worrying about, say, oh my God, range anxiety, how am I going to get somewhere? Or, yeah, I mean, we drive a little further up here, but there's still ways around it where you could kind of get the best of both worlds, get the power of the EV and also be protected of not worrying about having to get gas or anything like that. So
Oil changes.
Yeah, oil changes.
Yeah, look, a lot, and even still, even with the infrastructure, a lot of towns and a lot of cities, especially in upstate, they're paying a lot more closer attention to the EV market. You know, I noticed something as simple, you going out, there are local businesses that have it, from Middletown doing a wonderful job having one at the DMV and one even at the Equilibrium. You're able to find one right in their city very quickly, and guess what? They're usable. Yeah. You know, the EV9 and the EV6 does a great job of showing you exactly where those charging stations are that you can pull up to.
Within the car itself.
Yeah, right within the navigation. It shows you what type of charging station you're at. So if you are in a bind and you need one that's a little faster, you know how to find it quickly.
Yeah. And the faster ones are coming up here now too. It used to have to, I remember I took a Tesla that was traded in, I think it was a couple of years ago, and I had to go sit at the fastest one, which was the quick check. It took an hour and a half for just to get enough power just to drive to the auction. But even like Cosmos was ahead of it. They had the Tesla chargers. Now everyone's starting to adapt, so you could use the adapters on Tesla chargers, which is great. So there's a lot more peace of mind coming. It's slowly but surely. So I think EVs are here to stay. It's going to be a little slower, but they're definitely here to stay.
I think the range is pretty substantial for a vehicle of that size too. You know, averaging around 280 all electric range.
Is that a lot of questions that people have?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's
It's probably the number one, right?
Looking at like, there are 5 trims, and obviously I see that each one has almost a different range.
Yes.
So is that like a deciding factor for them about what trim level works for them?
Definitely is, and that's something that our person like product specialist like myself and Krissy, that's exactly what we do. We kind of find out what type of driving that they do. You know, what's your daily driving look like, what type of mileage you're driving to work, and we kind of be able to let them know, hey, this is the type of mileage you're doing weekly. This is what you would need. This is how many times you would have to charge in this vehicle, or this is how long you would charge on whatever charging stations you will need. To be able to give them a better education and say, you know what, I am an EV customer. People walk in here all the time and they never think that how they're EV customer, because they think that how they're driving too much. When you break it down, the average person is not driving 280 miles. That's a lot of miles. They don't think it is, but it really is. It's a lot of miles to really be able to get to where you have to go back and forth. So,
to install a charger at home, I mean, that's, if you have the capability of where you live, I definitely suggest that.
Because it fully charges overnight.
Just like your cell phone.
Supports a 240 volt.
That's a really good.
More houses up here too. Granted, there's more renting coming in, but a lot of people have their own homes where they can install them. And you get benefits from the government and all that. And it's more affordable to actually do it than a lot of people think too. It's not where it's going to cost you like as much as the car costs you to put in this charging station. It's actually doable. And a lot of times we actually give away the free charger sometimes too during certain events.
We do.
Obviously you have to pay for the electrician and all that, because we're not qualified to do it.
And even still, you know, talking to some of our customers that have bought the EV6s and installed those charging stations, they say, you know, it really was inexpensive. So that's always good to hear too.
Yeah.
So the range.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing when they're coming in?
Definitely the range.
Placing the incentive first. They're coming in with the incentive and all that.
I feel like most people that come in, they're very educated. They've done a lot of research online, so they pretty much know exactly what it is. They know the trim they want. They know the features that are going to be within it. They know the range. So a lot of times they almost school us. That's why it's really important to know. It's really, really important to know exactly what these packages are. You know, how do you get the relaxation mode? Like, what do you have to step into? So that's going to be the wind land.
Touch on that.
Yeah, what is that? relaxation mode?
Wanna talk about it?
I think you might
All right,
more
so
than I do.
look, you got a couple different ways. So you got relaxation mode, you got zero gravity, the second row seating. The seats can go pretty much back or reclining like you're sleeping in the car. You also have the vibrating seats in the front seat for the driver, which is phenomenal. To be able to drive it and be able to get a massage. Who's losing there?
It's included.
That's like
relaxation.
That's gonna be in the GT. So your GT line is gonna be in
GT line, yep.
Yep, you gotta be in the GT line. You'll have the vibrating seats right on the passenger door. A lot of those icons.
It's the same layout that the Navigator's got. It's probably
Well,
definitely
I mean,
more
the
expensive.
GT line's a little pricey, so it makes sense.
Well, yeah, you
But you're still getting a lot for your punch there.
you pay for convenience, and that's anything in life. You want something. Look, man, I'm a firm believer. You want something, go find a way to get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you're not just like, it's not just the trim. You're getting a lot with it, and you're getting, that car's a luxury vehicle. Like that GT line is a luxury vehicle. You could put, I'd put it against any luxury EV and put it against the Rivian, and I'd put them head to head. Hopefully we get one in for trade or something like that. That'd be nice comparison
I think
to
the
do.
Rivian didn't win the award.
But yeah, I think it takes that Rivian on, and it's better than a head to head.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a smoother ride, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I never got to drive a Rivian. I've been driven the EV9 a couple times, but I'd love to see that comparison and drive both for sure.
So for us, our customers that come in and talk to us about the Rivian versus the EV9, they talk about the space in the EV9, they talk about the smoothness of the drive versus it, and then they just talk about the comfort of the seats. That's a big one that you hear a lot of, is those seats are super comfortable no matter what seat you sit in. You do feel.
Steve, you're gonna have to put up on the podcast when you edit, or when you and Nicky edit, the comparison of both of them, like the warranty, all the perks that come in each, the price points. That'd be good to add in.
Yeah, I put it together, so I'll
Yeah, we'll touch
check
on
those
it.
up
Just
there.
make sure, we're just gonna put a beating on Rivian.
So now, I just realized I spelled your name wrong, Krissy. There's a T in there.
Bad start there, Nicky.
First T. So it sounds like, even what you're saying, that they come in and are comparing the Rivian to the EV9, so they really are very educated. It sounds like the EV buyers. So now, so obviously there's dual motor and there's single motor, right? Rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. So what are their outlooks on that? Because obviously, like, rear-wheel drive isn't as big of an issue in inclement weather when you're in an EV because of their weight. They're a lot heavier, and it's spread throughout the car. Like, obviously, the big issue with ICE vehicles and rear-wheel drive is that all your weight is in the front of the car, and your wheels are in the back pushing it. So that's why you kick out in rear-wheel drive cars, right? Yeah. So with EVs, it's not as big of an issue. So what are customers' opinions when they're choosing, because obviously it comes at a higher price point to go with dual motor and go all-wheel drive. So what are their opinions and thoughts when they're deciding over?
A lot of customers on my end, it really comes down to when you're doing the interview process and seeing what type of driving they're doing. Are you doing that long-term driving into, a place like New York City, or are you going upstate more?
Are you a first responder where you have to get out regardless of the conditions of the roads? That's like one of the first questions I ask. Is honestly, how often, like if you're not a first responder, if you're a school teacher or something that regards, how often do we really get a full-on storm that you're driving in the snow?
Correct.
So that's something that you have to take into
And now,
consideration.
like up here, we don't get the 4 or 5 massive snowstorms anymore. I like to ski, so it doesn't help my cars, but it also helps your guys' cars to clean those cars, clean the cars off as well. So we all.
See, I was gonna say I used to have to do snow removal, so I used to have to drive in that inclement weather. I remember, the drive going in PK Chevy. One of the guys, Dean, I work with, got stuck and blocked all of us with his Focus RS because it wasn't high enough. Because it was.
Oh, poor guy.
So there are people even outside of first responders that they do have to drive in inclement weather.
And absolutely. So that for us, that's super important to find out.
Yeah, you got to know.
Yeah, because then I can kind of, I hate to use the word persuade, but educate you on making the best decision for your lifestyle.
Well,
Because you're going to be in this vehicle for 3 years or 5 years, 6 years, depending on the term that you choose. You might as well do the right thing.
Those EV people tend to like the new tech. When it comes out faster, the quicker they buy. So.
Now, speaking of what
Krissy was going to touch on something. What were you going to touch on?
Well, basically, going back to what Zwade said earlier, like during the interview process, that's something that we're very good at. I think we all take pride in that.
Yeah.
I kind of make a list with the customers, pros and cons. You know, what are we looking at? Are we comparing it to something else? And we really listen to what's the most important thing. I think when people are shopping, it's very easy for them to go off in a tangent and get emotional and want certain things, but I always fall back on what is most important to you, and then it's easier to pull them back in and narrow it down, such as, you know, is all-wheel drive that much of a deal to you that you're going to pay $10,000, $15,000 more? You know what I mean? If they're more budget conscious, then, you know, chances are they probably won't choose that route.
Yeah, we're humans. We like shiny, new, the best of the best. It's just you can't fault us. We just want what we want, and it's always good to want and strive for it. But that's why we have professionals like you guys to steer us in the right direction, to really get the needs and wants, what fits their budget, so they're not overextending themselves. Because everyone has families and there's emergencies that come up where that's why we're here. We're here to get you what works for you and what fits your needs.
So now it's not a sports car, so maybe this isn't something that they think of, but obviously going from single to dual motor isn't just about rear wheel, it's all wheel. Yeah. The power figures are drastically different, right? So is that anything that people are concerned about with the EV9, or do they not really care?
So look, you're getting a vehicle that can range anywhere from, let's round it up to 215 to 380 at one point. That's more than enough power to do what you really got to do. And on average, what are we using these vehicles for? Immersion into a tight spot on the highway or normal city driving, to be able to make sure that how we maneuver the right way. It's more than enough. More than enough horsepower.
I mean, these EVs have
but now is that something
insane.
that, like, is it like you're saying, like when it comes to rear wheel and all wheel, like it's really, like the customers are deciding based off of inclement weather. Do any of them make the decision based off of that? I want the 380 compared to the 215?
Not necessarily. No. For us in this area, we have a lot of people that have boats and stuff. So that's another thing that comes into play for them. You know, if there's two parts, do I want the
towing capacity?
The towing capacity. Those are the things that kind of happen to also tie in with that, to being the horsepower. Do I want something that has more power? Do I need that extra oomph to really pull the load that I'm really pulling? Those people, yes, absolutely.
Get someone in here with the EV9 in a boat. Do we sell anyone that has a boat with the EV9? It's such a new product. We just got them, so I'm curious if we could figure that out and maybe get someone here so we can see it towing. That'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. We can probably look into that.
Mainly about the drivability. It's not like about the power or anything.
Look, I've looked at both ways through looking at, you know, possibly a customer with the Light to the GT, and the number one thing, no matter what they think is the next one up, they always say, "Oh, that I didn't think it would have that kind of that power that vehicle just had in it," you know, because the customer that's only in on the Light, they don't know the type of power that the GT line has anyway. So they're still looking at one that's 215 horsepower, and they're very surprised that this large third row SUV has that type of power in it.
Yeah, well, also, like when you're going to EV and you're coming from like a hybrid or like a gas powered, and that torque and that responsiveness, people they think it's got 700 horsepower. Because it's like it hits you. So that big drastic difference, like they're like, wow, I don't even need more power. You really realize how much more power goes into EV than
definitely
ICE. So
It's probably like the first feedback I get from my customers when they come back from a test drive is like they're shocked by the power.
I mean, and the technology in them is cool as hell too. It's like they always do some cool stuff in there. That's different.
Man, Kia is so ahead of the curve with its technology.
The base package blows away. Like the Korean brands have done such a phenomenal job how to package their technology into like baseline of their products. It's like night and day compared to some other brands.
Heated and ventilated seats standard, and the base model is wild. You know.
The Light does come with heated and ventilated seats. Yeah.
Kia's doing a much better job with
saying that the Hyundai Kia brand, they're predicting it's going to catch Toyota one day. So one guy from Asbury Automotive came out and said it.
But no, I meant to mention this before. Somebody mentioned like warranty. What is the warranty? Because the concern is the
cost of 10 years or 100,000 miles on the battery, which is most important.
Yes.
I mean, that is just a ridiculous.
That's a huge selling point.
A stamp on saying, hey, we're standing behind our product, and that's pretty cool.
Granted, I got to be honest. Like people complain about the cost to replace a battery. The cost to replace a Chevy V8 is the same amount of replacing a battery. So, but that is a concern of a lot of people, right?
And look, it's a great concern because the EV technology is just so new. My thing is, depending on the age gap of the customer, I always say, do you remember what it was like when when diesel engines came out, there was a concern there too. Do you remember when, cars changed and most of the cars coming in now is the V6s coming in larger vehicles? You just kind of related back to certain things that it's going to come along the way. It's a new technology. It's going to catch up to the point that you're going to be able to say, wow, you know what? He was right or they were right about that vehicle all along. It's new technology. We just kind of...
Even with
learning curve.
Even with hybrids, change, even when it comes to changing stuff with employees, or when we change a CRM, or when we change anything, it takes people a long time to understand it. Change is good, and these people that come up with these ideas to make the environment better, EVs, they have the right idea in mind. We just got to understand change and really grow with the change and explain that. That's what our job is to do. Mm-hmm. So once they adapt and understand it, I think it's a no-brainer. And it just pushes humanity forward, kind of a thing. So
now when I was researching this, there was one thing I have no idea what it is. What is the heat pump?
Oh, that's easy. That preserves the range of the vehicle in cold weather. So it's
the battery warm.
Learning something new.
It keeps the battery warm. Is that the idea of it?
But yeah, pretty much. It's instead it's like a person that don't like sleeping in the cold. And you don't have a blanket wrapped around you. What are you gonna do? You're gonna be up all night worrying about the cold. Nah, man. Perfect. You wrap yourself in that blanket, guess what? You fall asleep. The battery does the same thing. That heat pump preserves it, keeps it going, keeps the range where you need to be. Yeah. So this way you can just jump in and I have that full 379 horsepower with my 270 range or whatever else it is for that vehicle.
Okay.
It doesn't drop the range and keep you moving.
So now this makes sense. We're in the Northeast, right? So now that's not available on every trim.
Yep.
So now, is that something that you said EV buyers themselves are very knowledgeable when they come in? Is that something that they bring up since we're in the Northeast?
Something that has been mentioned out there, and a lot of people that are considering it are kind of on the cusp of, do I upgrade and get something with the heat pump? Because cold weather will drastically affect the range and the longevity of the battery, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, because when I was searching something, when you're talking about longevity of the battery, I did see that there are I guess you can say step-by-step process is very peculiar of how to handle your battery's health. Don't let it get to this, charge it to this, very...
90%, don't go beyond 90%.
Yeah.
But, and then you were talking about, before we started, what was it, some drivability stuff?
Yes.
Right, you were talking about shifting and everything like that, because this is a good way to now segue into us going into the car.
Mm-hmm. All right, so lastly, before we're going to do something different this time. We're going to do half the podcast in the actual EV9. Okay. It's such a new car. We're going to take you guys for a spin. Well, Nicky's going to go for a spin and ask you some questions. You guys are going to talk about what it's like. We're going to show the vehicle. We're going to go from there. But first off, I just want to know your honest opinion. What do you think about the EV9? Is it your favorite Kia EV? Is it?
I think so. I love the fact that they're gearing families specifically towards EVs. Like I said earlier, a lot of customers that come in for EV vehicles, they love the idea of the EV6, but the idea of it being a smaller crossover SUV is kind of hindering, growing families to invest in it.
And you also have a full army of family, so
you can fit some baseball bags in there, whatever you need.
It does.
So how about you, Zwade?
I love this. I like the tech. I'm a tech person. I'm not a person that has a big family when it comes to at home. So for me, the technology in it would be a huge selling point. I love the screen, the heads-up display. Being able to keep your eyes on the road at all times. That's pretty cool. And kind of
I'm a tech guy too. I don't have a family yet either, so I'm with you.
Yeah, man.
I like the fancy things too, guys.
Yeah.
But you also have a full army.
Absolutely, yeah. For me, I'm looking at all the shiny stuff on the car, then going.
So, Krissy, you want to touch on we have a new incentive on it, right? Healey's put a new incentive?
Yes. Between Healey Brothers and Kia, we have $11,000 in discounts on the vehicle, which is really nice.
Which is awesome.
And that's before, going through the federal tax credit. This is directly off the price of the vehicle.
Well, that's serious. So $11,000 off the EV9.
That's significant.
So we're trying to move the metal, get it into the public's hands, and really see it out there on the road. All right, guys. Well, enjoy your ride.
Yeah. Now we'll go for a ride. You guys can show me some of that technology.
So one of the main features that one of my customers had given me feedback on after a test drive was how smooth the transition was with regenerative braking. So, for example, some other brands that he had test driven, there's only 2 different regenerative braking levels. So here we have you can put it in one pedal and it'll essentially just do the regenerative braking automatically for you. Right now we're in level 1. And we have level 2. So the higher you go, the more pullback that you're going to get, and the more charging power you're going to get back to the battery.
Yeah, the more it'll regenerate your range.
Regenerating your range. It's like how we should go on the highway to show like adaptive cruise and all that. You want to talk about
let's try
that?
it.
You can pop on the highway and that'll work.
Let's try it. We'll jump on the highway.
Auto, okay. So now, if this is going to be your first time experiencing an EV vehicle, you could always get more accustomed just to the whole technology of the vehicle. Once you get used to all the different features, then I suggest playing around with the regenerative braking. You could always put it in the one pedal, so you just pull this button forward like so, and then you're in auto.
There's that power.
Now, what trim is this one?
This is a GT line.
So since it's a GT line, that means 379 horsepower, right?
Yep, 379 horsepower, 270 miles of all electric range.
Okay.
With a heat pump.
With the heat pump.
With the heat pump.
We don't need it today.
Yeah, we don't need to. Gorgeous day out here.
Yes.
Like we said, also the technology in this car is awesome. One of my favorite things is the screen up front and the hidden buttons on the inside over here, you'll notice. So you'll see all your nav, you'll see your media, your favorites, your setup hidden in this little area over here. Also very simple design for the screen, so it's not too distracting.
Yeah, definitely very simple. I can barely even see those buttons, honestly.
Yeah. Unless you're close, you're not seeing them too much.
Yeah.
A lot of storage too. A lot of real.
There's a lot of Twinkies in there.
Yeah. You know.
I was gonna say, Krissy needs all the storage she can get.
Yes. Gotta put, what do I gotta put in there? My kids' water bottles.
Yeah. A lot of sports.
A lot of sports. You could fit a bunch of baseball bats in the back. We're about to do a video on that one. What I like too is the placement of, the buttons that obviously you can't necessarily hide. We have the heated and the ventilated seats over here on the side of the door, as well as the heated steering wheel.
And the vibrating seat.
And the vibrating seat. Ooh, there it goes. There it goes.
Same thing with the passenger door. They have their heated and ventilated seat right on the door too.
Now you guys can't see this, but it does have the augmented heads-up display, where essentially it's going to show you like a hologram of your miles per hour. They'll have your speed limit there, and then when you do have the navigation set, it'll give you point-by-point directionals and heads-up display, which is really nice.
Okay.
All right, let's try some power. It's like so smooth, you don't even feel the shifting.
Nice torque. Another cool feature is the rear view mirror.
What is so?
Look how awesome that is. It gives you the view of the back through a camera setting. So let's say you're moving and the whole back section is full. You can't see through that rear mirror. Use the camera that's designed on the outside, and you can see what's going on back there.
I never understood the purpose of those cameras in the mirror. I honestly have always hated them.
Yeah.
Because they're like a lot more like zoomed in than just looking through your rearview mirror. So I was never like a big fan of them, but I also never understood the purpose.
Objects may be closer.
But now I understand the purpose.
Yeah, it is. It's designed just to, if you have stuff blocking the rear view or the eyesight of the driver. So safety's always been something that's important to Kia. So those little details are the things that you kind of you see that they focus on.
And all the drive-wise assist as well. I mean, this thing has everything. It has the adaptive cruise control, highway assist 2, which is going to essentially, the vehicle is going to drive itself. Then make sure to put the blinker on. It has the lane changing assist. So it actually changes the lane for you.
That's on both sides, left and right side. Some companies only have it on one side. Now with Kia, we do have it on both.
Okay.
So right now I'm going to lock in the adaptive cruise, like so.
ticket.
We're only going 85. Yeah. There you have it.
So now, is that really everything to talk about in terms of driving the vehicle?
Driving the vehicle and just the convenience. I don't know if this is going to work because the Kia Access hasn't been activated yet, but the voice recognition within the vehicle can do everything for you, from climate control settings, turning on your relaxation seats, putting on your heated steering wheel, setting the climate control to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. It does it all. Let's see if it works. It might not work unless you're connected to Kia. So let's try that. Set climate control to 70 degrees. You have to activate it. Once we activate it, then
It's the customers, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Now,
It's convenient.
The Kia Connect is it's a free app that you get with the purchase of a new Kia. As long as it have that program, you'll have it free for 1 year. Like Krissy said, you can jump in your app and do something as simple as you want to plan a trip ahead of time. It's going to show you locations that you can charge and set up the points of interest right from the app using that for electric vehicles. If you need to get in the car, as simple as going into your phone, unlocking the doors. Remote start schedule is probably one of my favorite things on the app.
yeah.
So with the remote start schedule, you mean like in terms of you can schedule it to be at a certain temperature for like when you're leaving?
You can do two different ways. So the remote start schedule is scheduling, let's say you have a week that you know what's going to happen every single time of the day. From, what time you got to get in your car to the time you got to get back in your car. You can set it up that, hey, you know what, I want my heated steering wheel, I want my heated seats to be on when I get to the car and the car ready to go. So by the time you get to your car's already started for you, defrosted or cooled down, whatever it is for that time of day it is, because you can go in the app and actually set that up.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's probably one of the more favorite things that people are always wowed by it when we tell them that they have it and how it works and what it can do.
Okay.
Do you guys know your way back?
So now, is that like a EV9 exclusive, or is that on other Kias?
That is also another Kias.
Usually you have to get, middle of the line trim, which a lot of other brands, you literally have to get the top of the line trim in order to get that specific feature. So as far as the highway driving assist, this thing has everything. You have the blind spot view monitor that we showed you here.
So now, I'm assuming it has like the, like our work car is an Ioniq 5, so does it have like that partial like self-driving, I guess you could say?
It does self-parking.
Yep.
Or pulling into a parking spot that's a little bit of a tight fit because the person next to you parked too close. Yeah,
And that can be remote, so that can be done outside of the vehicle from the key fob, like Zwade was saying. If you're parallel parked and you're too close, you can move forward or backwards with the key fob.
Yeah, that's making me think of that classic Hyundai commercial.
Yep.
Smart park! Like, yeah, oopsies.
And then you could actually park the vehicle, like within the vehicle or outside of the vehicle, it could essentially just park itself. Like with the key outside of the car, you can have the vehicle park itself. It's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool little features that make the EV clientele feel special about their car, and no other car can do.
That is a fair point. I mean, I think all of the like self-driving type of technologies is probably like the biggest selling point on every EV on the market.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing about EV cars, for everybody, the number one thing you hear people say sometimes, oh, that car looks so boring, it looks so plain. They didn't do that in this car. It does not look boring. It's not too plain. It's simple, but it's classy. It has a real strong luxury look to it. I don't wanna fly away.
Rocking his way to drop a new album May 24th. That's when it's going to hit you. The new Electric Light. We knew when he dropped TK.
That wasn't even halfway on the system
something
either.
amazing was
So
coming
really good
out
job
on the
there.
horizon.
Oh,
And
maybe
of course, he
talk about
just
drive
dropped
modes?
his
the drive modes are all awesome, so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would definitely talk about drive modes and like speak on like what you're experiencing when you change the drive modes.
So we're gonna jump into a couple of the drive modes. She's gonna go ahead and push the button there for it. It's right on the steering wheel. You know, past Kias had this down in this system here. This time they actually kept it right on the steering wheel, which is awesome. Again, that's another feature they kind of, I guess we'll call it upgraded by just something simple as putting it on the steering wheel.
And it's exclusive EV layout too. The drive mode is always on the steering wheel when it comes to Kia EV. So, all right, we got My Drive. Is My Drive?
So I'm trying to remember exactly. So that's like your custom. Yeah, that's like your custom mode in a lot of our other cars. Then you have your snow mode. Your snow mode's going to get you the ability to really dig through very deep snow. It's an all-wheel drive vehicle, so typically, no, you don't have to worry about those things. But this is going to give you a little more better traction also.
Now, something that's a little different from our other all-wheel drive Kias is you have four-wheel drive block. So essentially, this is great because for the most part, you're going to be in two-wheel drive. You're only going to obviously lock in four-wheel drive when you're really driving the snow. Therefore, getting more of an all-electric range, better fuel economy, and front-wheel drive. And then we have Eco. Of course, you know, Eco is going to give you the most fuel economic.
No fuel, Kia. We ain't got fuel in this thing.
All right, now we're gonna put it in sport. Really gonna. Bye, Honda.
Push me back in the seat a little. Push me back in the seat.
That 379 horsepower, baby.
Yeah, man.
Do you guys know what the 0 to 60 is?
I do not off the top of my head.
7 seconds? Isn't it comparable? I think it's comparable to the Stinger because they're of similar horsepower.
Let's see.
Yeah, so back to the drive modes. Eco, you know, that's going to give you the best fuel economy while you're doing city driving, of course. The more stop and go, the more deacceleration and regenerative braking that you do, the better you're going to utilize Eco mode and get more of an all-electric range.
Krissy, what did you say the 0 to 60 was on the GT line?
I could be wrong. I think it was like, is it 7?
Man, you are giving a lot of hate to this thing.
Is that wrong?
4.5.
Oh my God, I was wrong. Okay.
Wow, you really underestimated it. That's quite mean of you, honestly.
Krissy's human, man. She makes mistakes.
I make a lot.
It's a lot to remember sometimes. But yeah, that's the 4.5 seconds is right.
How does it feel, guys?
It's definitely very comfortable. That's for sure. Obviously, the accelerations of EVs is a lot different than ICE vehicles. You know, it's not really comparable. It's a totally different feel. You know, I explain it more of like a roller coaster, right? When you take off on a roller coaster, like it's always immediate, like as soon as the roller coaster takes off, right? So I kind of think of it as like that same feeling in your gut, kind of, if that makes any sense. Like that's how I kind of like think about it.
And now I have it in the auto for the regenerative braking. So, are you guys sensing any pullback after I accelerate? Because a lot of people say when they're driving an EV vehicle, it takes a while to get used to the pullback from the regenerative braking. Some people call it like you almost get like car sick from it. How do you guys? Does it feel smooth? Are you really feeling the pullback?
So truthfully, at like the majority of the trip, no. I really only felt it kind of when you were changing the regenerative braking like level.
Right.
And like kind of like testing that out when we first got in the car. Yeah. So outside of that moment, not really. It kind of feels pretty much exactly what an ICE vehicle would feel like.
Really nice here too is as you're, you know, if you are using the manual regenerative braking yourself, or if you're in the one pedal, the auto pedal, it's going to show you based on how you're driving how much power is going back to the battery. So you have it down below here. You know, the more you see it accelerate upwards, the more power it's putting regeneratively back to the battery.
Okay.
Maybe there's a way to see like you can see the power on the screen. What is this set up? Smart regenerative.
That you can choose how it decelerates and stuff.
We can blur that part out. But I think that's pretty neat how it shows. Maybe one more. There we go.
So this is you showing.
Okay, so this is on the infotainment side here. When you have it set up in the EV mode, it's going to show you the percentage of charging power that you have left, as well as the most local charging station that you have ahead of you. And the POIs, it's really nice. It's going to show you the closest charging station and the type of charging station, whether it's a level 2, a DC fast charging station. Really convenient. You never have to worry about not finding some place to charge your vehicle. You can plan your whole trip and base it upon the charging stations that are on the way. It'll navigate you the whole way through.
I think that's probably got to be one of the biggest things for people, because it's a huge concern.
Yeah, it has to be a new norm, and you gotta kind of make a plan to understand the trip that you're taking. If those things are important to you, you want to make sure that the trip route that you choose has the different types of charging stations. Make sure they're active. So when you get there, you're not looking at a charging station that's not working. You can always tell by when you're looking, especially on the map, you'll see the different types of charging stations. It'll say your alternate current or your DC current. The augmented view, one of my favorite things on there.
It's especially helpful for people that pull out of their garages so they don't hit the side of their house like I did.
You hit the side of your house?
I did, and honestly, that's why I traded in my Sorrento for the upgraded one with the 360 view. That's one of the new things. True story. They didn't keep that part out.
What had more damage? Oh, I'm not taking that out, Krissy. I'm sorry. What had more damage, the house or the car?
The car.
The car?
The house is fine.
That's good.
The house is fine. We got a little bit of the siding paint color on my Sorrento. Nice little blend of black and it really was taupe. And then
For tuning in, don't forget to like, comment, hit that subscribe button, and follow us at Healey Brothers on all social platforms.